Hey guys, it's Charlie. This is 4BZ Truth Channel. Wanted to spread a message that is an important topic right now in this world, and I'm trying to weigh in a little bit because I think it's important to face against the adversary as far as those who are trying to take away the First Amendment rights. And without, practicing First Amendment rights, it's not as effective. So this is where I'm at right now. I'm practicing. I want to convey to the world my opinion. Now, granted, I'm going to tell you right now that this is a very controversial topic, and there's a very good chance that this video is going to be taken down because it is so controversial. I have to really watch how I word these things, because this is probably the most controversial topic in the world right now, because, I'll explain. So I made a video previous about the BLM movement and how I support people that are contributing to society from their culture perspective. That's what makes this country, America, an amazing place to live, because we have so many different cultures coming together. And I wanted to point out that for me to say all lives matter has somehow become a racist comment. And now I'm just going to say, okay, I'm hoping that I have drawn in other people of different ethnicities, specifically black people. And I'll just tell you right now, I love black people. Black people are awesome. They brought soul to the world. I was freaking brought up around, like my stepdad, he wasn't black, but he was a guy that he played the blues, with his harmonica, and he was very influenced by like some of the old school like blues singers. Like I remember he always sang this song like from Sonny Boy Blow or something like that. And the cool thing about that is it's awesome that people have soul, that they can teach other people like me and my stepdad, who just so happened to be white. Now, okay, I heard this other black guy that was talking on this talk show. He was a radio host, actually. Or was he a radio host? I don't want to mix stories up, but he was basically saying, yeah, it was the same guy. He was saying that he was on the radio, kind of on a national level. Someone of prominence that was black came on saying that he had white privilege. And the funny thing about that is this guy is a black radio host. So she was calling him out like he had white privilege even though he was black. And now I'm just going to say right now, I've never really cared personally about race. In some ways, I can say that, yeah, my family, I was exposed, and this is something I talked about in my last video about this topic, that I was kind of brought up around people that were kind of racist. And, like my stepmom would say like, oh, we're going downtown LA, make sure you keep your doors locked because you don't want someone to come try to break into our car, kind of thing. And, all the black people that I've ever known, on a personal level, I freaking have never had a bad relationship with a black person. I never felt like there was ill feelings or anything. Now I will admit that my exposure kind of made me a little bit apprehensive to certain cultures. But let me just put it this way. I go to work, or I go out into the world, and that's how people treat each other in general. This is what social media has done to people. Is that unless you're really good friends with somebody or more than acquaintances, you're going to be standoffish from people. It has nothing to do with race per se. I think that it's I feel like the nature of this world has almost like turned us away from each other, from embracing each other. It's the Hegelian dialectic. If you're not familiar with the Hegelian dialectic, there has been problems that are stirred up, and they create a division, and so it's problem, reaction, solution. Okay, so if you're not familiar with that, I guess look into it. But the thing about, let me just say from my perspective, I don't feel like I have white privilege, but at the same time, I pointed this out in that last video, that I feel like maybe the cops are less likely to mess with me than maybe a black guy. We'll just say that. But I don't think that's right. And maybe that's just my perception. Maybe that's not even true. Maybe I just have been kind of swayed from the media a little bit, or just the way that the nature of our society has been run lately, is that I'm almost like told that I'm a racist by default because I'm white. I didn't even want to think that I'm white. It's not my fault that I freaking have white skin. Damn. So, I don't want to seem like I'm coming across insensitive to the Black Lives Matter movement. I really care about black people. I care about Mexican people. I care about Hispanic or Asian people. Honestly, I think that skin color doesn't matter. Martin Luther King freaking said the same crap. He's the one that was saying that, skin color doesn't matter, so that everybody can fit in together. We're not supposed to segregate. I think, in a lot of ways, this movement is causing more segregation. It's almost like making, maybe it's our turn. We're white, so it's our turn to be slaves or something. I was seeing pictures of like these people that were, or these black people sitting in these chairs, and these white people washing their feet. Now, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but I feel like that's kind of the message that's being put out there, that, we're supposed to almost like bow down in a sense. And I know that this is going to get me in trouble, especially with people that are black, because I don't understand what you're going through on the same level that you would understand, because you've lived this life from your perspective. I've lived my life from my perspective, but in my perspective, I'm not racist the way that I've always been made out to be. I've never felt like, black people are inferior to me. I have a memory, when I was going to church when I was younger, I had a black guy that was like, his name was Harvey, and freaking one of the coolest guys I ever knew, to be honest with you. He had such a good heart. He loved me like a son. He was my youth pastor. And, going to church in the Christian church, that's supposed to be the message that's being sent to people, is that we are all the children of God. And we're not supposed to look at other people like they're any less than we are. And that's where the golden rule kind of comes in. It's like doing to others as they would have them do to you. I expect the same thing from other people. I consider black people like me. And I would expect them to view me the same way that I view them. So the only reason I'm weighing into this is because it is my duty to uphold the First Amendment and say, listen, we got to look at this logically, because this is important. This is actually such a slippery slope that if we venture down this road any further than we are right now, they're talking about like freaking defunding the police, and I mean, okay, the police, I can understand there needs to be reform in some ways, the violence and stuff like that. Obviously, they are letting the power get to their head. I'm not like from the anarchist party or something, but I actually feel like I've been trending toward anarchy in my views because I don't like what the government and the police system have done to this country. But it doesn't mean that it can't be reformed. We have to come at this from a logical perspective. We have to come at this from the perspective of love. We have to love each other. I freaking love people that are from other cultures. I mean, listen to me. I love people from other cultures. I feel like it's the bread and butter of the United States to take different cultures and make that melting pot, or the mixing pot, or whatever you call it, and we blend our freaking cultures together. Now, if people are hanging on to racism and skin color, that's like the most shallow thing ever. I say that from every angle possible. If somebody hates you because you're a different color, they're stupid. Or if you feel like you're being mistreated just because the other person is a different skin color, I mean, it's one thing. I guess you could say, yeah, if you feel like you're being mistreated, then that's one thing. But if, like, I've been accused of being racist just because I'm white. And it's not fair. It's not fair to me. It's not fair to my freaking kids. I have a little boy that I'm trying to figure out how to raise. And I have another baby that's on the way. And I want to I'm trying to choose my words wisely. My son was innocent when he was brought into the world. And the only thing that he has is what we have given him, me and my wife. Now, you could call that white privilege. I don't think it's white privilege. It's me freaking loving my son and trying to raise him the way that I believe that the Lord's trying to teach me to raise him, right? So, okay. So with all that said, I hope that I'm not offending anybody. I know that people, will agree with me, but obviously this is a subject that is very torn down the middle. Some people will say that it's a very racist thing that I'm saying. Other people will say it's completely fair. So, with the topics that I often touch on with bias and perspective, please consider that your bias and perspective is your filter of interpretation. And I want you guys to realize that there is a lot of things to consider here. Please consider love first. Because love will not judge you based on your skin color. I don't want to be judged from a blanket perspective, like all white people are racist. I don't want to judge that all black people are freaking, in the riots. Because I've heard a lot of people that are black that are saying, I don't want any part of this riot stuff. I don't want to freaking break windows. I don't want to freaking burn buildings. I think it's stupid what people are doing. I just listen. You can't blanket statement people. You can't just say, oh, all these white people, or all these black people, or all these Mexican people. I mean, seriously, we are a nation of people. We're a world of people. So stop pulling the skin color card unless you have a legitimate reason. If you've literally been oppressed. Yes, it's true. There are people oppressed. That's why you can't blanket statement everything. But you can also, there's nothing wrong with being selective in your approach to reality either. Yes, there's probably a lot of segregation and racism going on all over the country. In fact, I was just watching a documentary, Storm Clouds Over Alberton or something. I forget what it's called, but or Dark Cloud. It's Dark Clouds Over Alberton. It's a documentary that's about the Georgia Guidestones and population control and things like that. If you guys haven't actually seen that, I was thinking about resharing it on my channel, but basically these guys that were looking into it, apparently the people that were given the information to, or the funds to build the Georgia Guidestones were directed by, I think, Robert or R.C. Christian, which was a pseudonym for this guy that didn't want to reveal his identity. And well, after doing an investigation, these guys kind of caught a glimpse of an address and a name when they were flipping through these papers that this guy was showing them. And basically, they kind of ran with that little bit of a clue and found the actual guy that, or the two guys that were involved with the development of this Georgia Guidestones. And crazy thing, this freaking these guys that were involved were actually white supremacists. Go figure. And they wanted to reduce population. And you know, if you actually look into the meat of all this stuff that's happening in the world, I swear there is an agenda to depopulate the world, and they're starting with black people. They're starting with the quote-unquote minorities. So I'm going to say right now that it's the deep state. It's the freaking the shadow government, or the elitist mentality that is projecting this, or they're secretively projecting their agenda. And you know, the whole Planned Parenthood thing, I think that actually was something that was set up to kill off the black people early on. Now, I'm not saying that it doesn't exist. That's what I'm saying. You got to be logical and selective, and don't just blanket everything. There are a lot of white people, Mexican people, Asian people that are very accepting and loving of all other races. So never blanket statement anybody. It's not fair. It really isn't. But I don't think it's fair that there's white supremacists either, or black supremacists, or freaking Asian supremacists. Honestly, I don't even know. I'm just saying, no one's really supreme. We're all supreme if you want to consider everybody. I think that we are supreme in the eyes of God. We're made in His image. So I'm going to leave it at that. So I appreciate you guys listening. If you have any thoughts on this, please leave a comment below. Like this video, share it, and subscribe. We'll talk to you soon. All right. Love you guys. Bye.